Okay, so normally when I speak to people, like a crowd like you guys in America or in Europe, it's always, let's go to the other side of the world. But I don't need to, I'm already here. So let's go north, at least. Let's go north and let's have a look at the second largest island on this planet. And I don't need to tell you, I think you guys know much better than I about the political situation, about the geography probably also, because you are all experts here in your field of Australian and New Guinean native fishes. But anyway, one important thing is that we have a few large, really large basins, and I try to collect almost all of these river basins, and we will start very soon here in Timika. But before we start, just a few words about collecting, about people, especially people. New Guinea is a land, or especially that part of the world, who has so many cultures and so many different tribes and populations and people, and they are all fantastic. And one thing that I've learned during my visits is, as soon as you start with a smile, these smiles will come back to you. And this is the attitude that we should have when we travel this country, any country in the world. Be nice and kind and ask for permission. Something that you have to do when you're traveling New Guinea is asking for permission to do anything. Otherwise, you will get a little bit in trouble, and that can lead to something bad. Yeah, there's fantastic people, unfortunately, in many places in New Guinea or in West Papua. Let's take it like this. The Indonesian government is doing a so-called transmigrasi program. That means they bring in people from overpopulated islands like Java or Sulawesi over to West Papua and let them have a go. So these are a clash of cultures, clash of religions. In New Guinea, people are missioned and they are Christians, so there's Muslim people coming in, there's conflicts coming in. And in many places, I learned that there's a conflict a little bit under the surface, and people, especially those that the country belonged to, are now excluded from the big benefits that civilization brings. So sometimes we are talking about something, the Stone Age is meeting the Western civilization, or New Age, or whatever you might call it. I don't know, because these people made pretty well over thousands of years. So it's kind of arrogant to talk like this, probably. But of course, you will notice very soon some problems. But the people themselves are fantastic. And anytime I'm there, I'm trying to talk to the people. I speak a few words of Bahasa Indonesia, so that makes it a little bit easier. But in the final thing, I'm the foreigner, and I'm always very grateful that they let me travel their beautiful country. And yeah, when I'm talking like this, and when I show this to a normal European housewife, she get, oh my God, you can't let this child play with a knife. I don't think, but maybe it's the same here. So you will hardly see something like this, but this is Papua, this is completely different. And the kids grow up very well, with noses and ears and everything. Yeah, traveling sometimes is a bit difficult, right? Because the roads are not the best, especially those remote places that we go to. That year was a nice trip to the Bird's Neck, where it was raining constantly 5 days long. So it took us for 3 kilometers of road half a day. Wonderful trip. And sometimes it's not working like this. This is even nicer. That was from Merauke to Tanah Merah, one of the most beautiful roads I've ever done. It is fantastic when even the big trucks are getting stuck. Wonderful. Actually, we couldn't get any further, even with a nice car, and had to take motorbikes, which was a very pretty dirty job, actually. Yeah, and sometimes you hire a truck because you can't get anything else here like this. This was at the end of the world, somewhere in Timika, and we were just ending up, road was ending, and there were some construction workers, and they said, yeah, come on. You can hire our truck to go over the river, and they gave us some policemen to guard us. That was good, because I've never been together with policemen with automatic guns, and German soccer shirt. I like that. So that guy was cool. He knew Beckenbauer and all these guys. I don't know how big soccer is here, but for me it was an honor to talk to somebody like this. And actually there was a reason, because that was guerrilla area, and they said you have to go with us, otherwise it's a little bit too dangerous, but all good. Sometimes you have to sleep in the forest. This is a luxurious camp. This is high luxury. There was a millionaire, Richard Snyder. He sponsored a trip. And when we arrived in the camp, it was like this. Wonderful. The only problems were the ants that were crawling into my nose and to my ears each morning. So, and I was just recommending to the people, do something against the ants the next time you set up such a nice camp. Anyway, so where you have to work, I'm working on fish. That means in the daylight, I try to collect them. At night, I try to make pictures, preserve them for some scientists. One of those is here, Peter, for instance, or Michael. And those guys, they love dead fish, obviously. They love to look at dead fish, or just even a fin clip makes them happy. Yes, I can completely understand you guys. So I'm also happy with a new fish, but most of the time it should be alive. Okay. Yeah, okay, so let's go, and this is one of the most beautiful moments when you're flying in. Early morning, you're just flying in, and you see the huge mountain ridge that is telling apart the southern from the northern area, the Chilaterina and Glossolepis from the others, and from the blue ice, if we want to say so, in the south. And you can see already from far away, this is now coming from the south. We've been flying in from Makassar, that is a 2011 trip, and flying towards Timika, and all you see is virgin, untouched rainforest. Beautiful. That makes my heart jump, I must admit. This is the moment when you just want to take a parachute and jump in. And maybe when you land it and you have your first fish in hand, you will have a problem how to get this out of here. But in that particular moment, there are still so many rivers, so many beautiful places, and it's just wow. I think New Guinea has one of the last spots, untouched spots on Earth, especially in the Mamberamo system and in some parts in the southern area between the Kumana and Timika area. This is also still virgin rainforests. Yeah, let's go to Timika. Let's go to one of those areas I've been to, I think, 5 times, collecting fishies. It is good because actually they have a huge mining company there, which is not so good because they are just destroying the whole thing, and the whole rivers. But many things are untouched, and you have roads. And you do have cars you can rent, and you do have an airport you can fly in. So that is good, and especially in Timika, you see this still is also untouched rainforest. This is now a little video I want to show you, done by my friend Mike Drawdy here to the left, with a drone in his hand. Mike is the owner of Imperial Tropicals in Florida. We were together in 2019. That was a trip to Bird's Head, and just to show you, to give you an impression of the biodiversity, of the possibilities, that the fish that might wait for us, in a way, before the logging companies come, before the caterpillars come, and will destroy everything. And especially here in New Guinea, because there is no panda bear, there's no orangutan, there's nothing to make it worth saving for the WWF or Greenpeace. Nobody takes care for that. So there's something ongoing now that they are destroying this beautiful, wonderful area. And each time I come back, I can see again another spot where they just irradiated everything, might have irradiated any species that we would love to know, at least for the science, to have an impression about the biodiversity that this huge country offers to us. Well, yeah, let's start with the clear water rivers. Clear water is always nice because you can see things. Here, the crocs see you pretty fast, I was told. But there, you don't need to be afraid. There's only a few places in New Guinea, at least here in the south, in the Timika area, where they do have crocodiles. The salties are there, but more in the mangrove area. And these things here, if you go underwater snorkeling, don't forget your snorkel. Your mask, and then you will see beautiful spots where you can see beautiful little fish like this blue eye, Pseudomugil pellucidus. It is a group of these glassy Pseudomugil which make just a nice aquarium fish because they are less than, you say centimeters here, right? Yeah, so 4 to 5 centimeters. And little colors. So people in Germany always ask me before I offer the fish to them, they are always asking me, Hans, is it a Hans beauty or is it a real beauty? Because I like gray and glassy fish. People very often are afraid that I'm just offering some gray shit to them. They say. So, but that one will work. Do I have to? Yes, better. Better with? Okay, so then I have to stop shouting now. And I'm a very emotional person, whoops, so it's not working any better. So this is Pseudomugil pellucidus, and they have cherry red eye eggs when they start. And have you ever seen eggs like this? It's a beautiful thing, but it doesn't work any better. And the development takes about 20 days, 20 to 22 days until they hatch. They don't drop many, maybe 2 or 3 eggs per day. And then you have to wait a long time until they hatch. When they ever hatch, it's easy to grow them. But the time period and the waiting, that's the problem. And these things are very good in hiding the eggs just somewhere. So. But it doesn't matter anyway because nobody wanted them when I offered them. Okay, another fish you can see there frequently, everywhere, in any clear water biotope, is the Moggy, Mogunda cingulata, one of the most beautiful gudgeons that I can imagine. Beautiful fish and peaceful, compared to the asperger that fly around here in these rivers, which I was told are very territorial and very aggressive fish. So those are not. You can keep them together with rainbow fish, no problem at all. Yeah, let's have a look underwater into the big river system. Let's see how it flows in the Ritron. And first thing that comes to my mind always, I love grunters. They are so underestimated in the aquarium hobby. They are hard to get. In Europe, they are almost impossible to get. But you guys should have it a little bit easier. Just go for them. I know they are hard to catch. But if you ever have them, they are really, really nice aquarium fish. A friend of mine is keeping a group of this Hephaestus habemai that we collected. And they are breeding regularly. They are spawning. So they are egg scatterers, actually. They throw their eggs somewhere. He's trying to save some eggs. But he's probably not in the position. In the moment, he could not raise any fry. But it is possible to get eggs from them. So it should be possible to get babies. Yes, classic biotope for glassy fish and smaller fish is the planted areas there. This is Limnophila indica, a very widespread aquatic plant, and the glassy perch, or how do you call these guys? Glassfish, I think, right? Somehow like this. Ambassis agramus, they are abundant by the thousands, sometimes huge flocks of them. And those that eat them, that are the ones you call mouth almighty, right? Yeah, Glossamia timica is that species from Timica. If it is different from Aprion, I don't know. The experts have to tell this to me, but it's still valid. There's another 2 more species. They are mouth brooders, mouth almighties, nice, and they gulp down fish of the half of the size of themselves. So they are always hungry. Yes, let's go back to the Ritron. Let's have a look at the rainbow fish. Oh no, the gobies first, of course. One of my favorites, because they are everywhere. And one of my favorites is Glossogobius, the whole group. And one of them is very abundant in any biotope in Timika is Glossogobius concavifrons, and they are lovely fish. And the best is when you get a Christmas gift like this when they are spawning. These eggs actually are hanging down there like very longish eggs, and the yolk is just hanging down. It looks a little bit like when the male is guarding the eggs, it's all swinging back and forth. They swing for about 20 days until they hatch. And this is also a long time, and you have to be patient, and because these males leave the eggs very often. But I breed them ever since. Nice fish, also nobody wants to have. But I don't mind because I grow 10 to 20 and I leave them in my tank, happily swimming about for a few years. Nice fish. And this is one of my favorites. You know what that is? It's a hardy head, but with colors on. at least for that part, this greenish neon stripe here is beautiful. And they do big flocks, huge flocks of fish with these neon green stripes. And you can see them walking around, picking on the algae and the detritus and feeding on that. They are almost everywhere. And they are a good company to any rainbow fish from that area. So if you do a community tank, you can do something like just add another few Craterocephalus nuhusi, if this identification is correct, but I hope so. And they are making a very good aquarium fish. Again, they are to breed like other hardy heads. They are not delicate, they are not difficult. The only problem is who wants to have the babies? Again, just nobody wanted them. So I kept them for about 5 to 6 years. I bred them twice or 3 times. Then I was frustrated because not even my pet shop wanted some. And usually they take just because they like me, they take 20. And they keep those fish forever. Sometimes I take them back when they are big enough to say, thank you for feeding. But actually, for me, one of the hottest things there. And now let's talk rainbow fish, Goldii, widespread over the whole southern New Guinea. If it is all one species, I don't know. I'm not the fin clipper. You guys should know. Maybe one day you will tell us. But this one from Timika is a beautiful variety. This is in the river itself when the sunshine comes from the side. It's beautifully shiny in all colors. And they are peaceful fish in huge flocks. So you sometimes see 50, 60, 100, 200, 500 of them swimming happily about all together. And here in the river, you can see already the dominant males, the alpha males carrying the beautiful colors of blue and red. And even in the aquarium, here they show that really intense blue and intense reddish fins when they are feeling well. These are the probably most prominent fish, rainbow fish in Timika area. The second one is that you know them also very well, Rubris striata, abundant also in all of the southern New Guinea. And these are difficult in behavior. And I did not know this actually, because I know them like this, a big group of them in a big tank. They are nice to each other. They show off every time, every morning. After a water change, they do a little bit like this, a curling and so on. But in nature, where they have a lot of space, they are much different. And that was something new to me. So I was snorkeling and I was relaxing and I was watching them. And so I saw a big alpha male standing somewhere. And as soon as another big male approached, he was chasing it out aggressively. And this is only this species. The Goldii are completely different. So probably also a speciation because they are together. They are syntopic. And one of my favorites also is Pseudomugil ivansoffi. It is in the hobby pretty widespread because they are easy to breed. There are some breeders that keep them for ages, so we are always safe with them. There's a saying, we have a few different varieties, populations actually in the hobby. I must say they are absolutely everywhere around Timika area, in every blackwater and every clearwater river. This is a fish from a blackwater with a golden to yellow body coloration. due to the black water. Put them into normal aquarium. A few weeks later, they look like a normal Ivan Sophy. And another thing is they can vary a little bit in the size, but not from spot to spot. It depends on how you feed them. And in my opinion, we are talking about the same. There are some, like it's for instance, one variety is called Kopi River. Kopi means coffee in Bahasa. And coffee means a dark river, a black water river. And so every time you come to a Kali, Kali means creek, Kali Kopi, you can find those. It's a blackish water, and you have at least in the Timika region 5 to 6 Kali Kopi, all in an area of 20 kilometers. So I don't give too much on this. And the variety also in the coloration. These fish that I show you now are all from the very same spot. They have a lot of red in there. Sometimes they have a lot of yellowish fins and blue eyes. And what I really love most with Ivan Sophy, those of you who know this fish might agree, I love the babies. Because from the very first moment on, when the babies hatch, under the surface, you have little blue spots under the water surface. It's fantastic. Yes, that is not so fantastic, but also in Timika, the destruction is going on. My first trip to Timika was in 2011. And we were driving on a new road there, and it was starting to get raided off. They start now to plant palm oil. And they now planted for a stretch of 50 kilometers down to Kiura. And all the rainforest, 2 kilometers deep into the forest, along the road is now a palm oil plantation. And we just can imagine what has been lost now. But for this time, I was happy because that was after 2 weeks trying to find hard a phantom. I was finally happy to see this blackwater stretch here, and I said, wow, okay, this is a blackwater creek, very soft water and very, very blackish, and you can see the white sand. It's a typical blackwater river, and there must be some fish which is not in the other places. For instance, these tiny, tiny little gobies. And this is Oxyolotris. Oxyolotris is a genus of gobies which it consists of huge things like getting 30, 40 centimeters large, and others that are only reaching 3 centimeters, like this little fellows here. This is, for instance, Paucipora, Oxyolotris paucipora, and Oxyolotris nullipora. We collected nullipora just recently, 2 days ago, around Tully. I was really surprised that we found them there. I did not expect it, and it was actually the most shittiest place you can imagine. But they obviously enjoyed it very much. And yeah, nice little fish. You can breed in an aquarium. They do big eggs, and they take a long time to hatch, but you have to work very, very clean because they do not like bacteria. Any bacterial things going on, if you do not change the water often enough, they start to suffer. And you can grow out 20, 30 babies, and all of a sudden they have already reached 1 centimeter, they start dying. Nobody knows why. I think it's because of the bacterial load in the aquarium. So you have to work. And this is it, my phantom. And I was shouting through the snorkel. Did you ever hear people shouting through snorkels? So the people were quite irritated around me. What is he doing there? I got it. This is it. And my guy that I was with, the eco, the collector, that is coming together with us, he said, you are crazy. It's the same fish. All these rainbow fish, boring. That was in 2011. Now he's completely the opposite because he's exporting that stuff now. Now, it's something that was called, at least by Jerry Allen in his book about fishes, about Timika, Melanotina or gilbii. It is a smaller species, maybe 7 to 8 centimeters total, and beautiful. In my opinion, one of the most beautiful little rainbow fish. And the same, what I said about the little gobies, here the same. You can do it up to the second filial generation, but they are starting to suffer soon, and they do not like just being neglected. If you just do not change water constantly and take care what you feed them, no tubifax, no red, what you saw, bloodworms, then it's okay. So, but they actually really are a very delicate, sensitive species, but one of the most beautiful ones. Yeah, finally, last spot here is that. This is the type locality of a fish I collected in 2015 and sent over the material to Jerry Allen for description. To get there was a little bit, exhaustive, let me say so. It was a 45 minutes walk through Pandano Swamp, which is always a beautiful walk. Those of you who did it might remember. And on the way back, we got lost, so it was almost 1.5 hours walk back through that with the fishies in the hands that I collected here. This is my friend Jeffrey Christian from Maju Aquarium, the owner in Java, and he is doing a sustainable job. We collect together only 50 to 100 fish, and then he's starting to breed them and send them out into the world. This is something that, that I think is really appreciable, because it makes the Indonesian fish famous in the aquatic world, and it is good giving money. The money stays in the country because he is paying his workers and he's paying them well. That is a good way, and we do this ever since. I started projects with him in 2007, and we are still cooperating in several aspects, in plecos and gories, but especially also now for a while in Indonesian fish, like, for instance, these rainbow fishes. Yes, and the fish that I'm talking about is this one. You might know them, Pseudomugil luminatus, formerly called red paskai or red neon or whatever. One of the most lovely fish in my opinion, and of course also very easy to breed, but you have to be after it. I have them since 2015 now, and actually I have to breed them twice a year. They are annual fish in my opinion. They don't last for long. They need to be set up again and again. You have to be after it, otherwise you can lose them quickly. Just forgetting them for 1 year or two, and you can lose them. So you have to breed them regular. They are easy to breed. Just put a few in a tank with Java moss, take them out after a week, and you have some babies. No big deal. Okay, let's jump to a recent trip I did in 2023, last year. Last year, April, I was in the Upper Taritatu, and that is one of the bigger affluents to the Mambramo in the north. So now we are in Shilaterina land. We go, and this is the Taritatu already in the upper streams and the headwaters. It's already a big river, and people call it already Mambramo over there. So when you go the road along there, you will see people call it Mambramo. And in the Upper Taritatu, you have some usual suspects. You have a lot of creeks where you can go fishing. One of them was this one. This is a Van Herne, or I don't know how you pronounce it. Van Herne is a large growing fish. So a friend of mine has the Faovi village variety that we keep in the hobby for some years. Johannes and Gary, you brought him, I think. And they grow 15 centimeter or more, so really big fish. Nice to look at and beautiful in coloration. And this here is before we went down, so I did not take my camera with me because I did not dare to. We had to climb over rocks, and we had to walk over big logs that were laid over little creeks. So I said, no, this half-an-hour walk I do without a camera, but I did the biotope from above. And this is just actually a slope here after a little rock here. This is a Clearwater creek or river called Kali Biru. That means blue creek. You have 1 million Kali Birus in West Papua because very often the water is very blue. And this one should be called Kali Kopi with milk, because actually they are gold mining there illegally, the people of the village, and they are completely destroying the whole area. And I talked to them because we were asking, are we allowed to collect fish here? Said, yes, we can collect fish. There are some fish in, but don't mind, we go on and we are collecting gold over there upstream. So the whole river was banned. And this fish that I show you now is living in exactly the big river. In the affluents, in the little creeks that we have to climb over, this Aphanis variety was swimming. A beautiful pale colored one with pale colors. Beautiful, really beautiful little variety of Aphanis. And that was the one we got out of the Kali Biru. That is one of those moments when you have a new fish in your net and you say, yes, 2 weeks of stress, 2 weeks of pop me noodles, instant noodles, 2 weeks of sleeping somewhere in a not so nice place was worth doing because you have something like this. And it is a very beautiful new Sheila terina in my opinion, but the experts have to check it. There's material now already available for the scientists so they can check. For the time being, we call it Sheila terina taritatu. It is easy to breed. So Jeffrey is already producing masses of those. And if there's some of the aquatic industry here, just apply for a legal permit to import them to Australia. It is a nice and easy fish, really. Beautiful little one. And you can see the difference to Blearai. It has a silvery stripe when they are mating, and they are shiny red and not greenish red with a red tail. So that is the difference. Now this is a few weeks after I got them. Now they are chunky fish, really chunky, like the Blearai, with a high head and this steep front with a little mouth on. So a typical high-bodied Sheila terina. Yeah, let's stay at the Mamberamo. Just a little story about that because it's so fantastic. It was not a really nice species that we collected there, but it was such fun because we came from somewhere, I think it was Timika, and I got just a little bite by a black insect. It didn't tell me its name, but it was hurt. But it was painful, and my leg grew bigger and bigger, so it was not a nice stay. We went by airplane to a little airstrip called Casonaveja in the lower Mamberamo, and there's only one airline going. It's called Zuzi Air. Zuzi Air, named after the wife of the owner. And the pilot was an Australian. He said, "What the do you want here?" And we said, we go for collecting some fish. And he just said, "Good luck, I take you here for 4 days, I'm back." Finally, he did not come back after 4 days because the plane was crashed, but different story. You see, this is the Mamberamo here, still virgin, and there's only a little village. We're flying in here. This is the airport of Casonaveja, which is more or less a wooden hut, and a guy with a satellite telephone. And that guy saved my life instantly because after 4 days, we heard that the plane was crashed. It was not able to come to pick us up, but he phoned Jayapura, and my leg was like this and turning blue. So I obviously got a sepsis or something. I had to go to the hospital. Otherwise, I would have lost my life or my leg. I don't know. But as you see me jumping around here, all worked well. For just another $4,000 we could rent a little airplane and fly us out. But we wanted to go fish collecting, right? And that was the second problem. There's only one road from Casonaveja down to Lake Holmes, Danau Bira. This is the home of Sheila terina Blearai. And Lake Holmes I wanted to go to all my life, so I said, let's go there. How? And one of his guys, we were sleeping in the community house of the tribe. They were invited us. And it was the hottest place in my life. 40 degrees, 99.9% air humidity. And my friend Andy and I, we were just sitting there and sweating. And you could see the sweat dropping from your elbow. Bam. And Andy just said in his dry, northern German kind of sense of humor, "Hans, we are sweating for a good thing." So what was it? That was the only car we could rent. We approached them, "Hello, can we rent your car?" Yes, it was the police car of the village. And as an addition, They gave us 10 policemen coming with us. Because there was finally something going on in that bloody village. There was nothing happening. So they had a good time. We were chasing beauties like Melanotina mailandi. My goodness, and we were sweating for a good thing. That wasn't it. Anyway, we finally managed to get this mailandi back in the hobby. It was there for 1 year, and the F1 was, nobody wanted them. Gone already. Yeah, nobody wanted them. I can understand we have about 100 different kinds of rainbow fish or more, and some are really colorful. So those are the ones for the blind or for these guys that cannot see colors. This is Danau Bira, Lake Holmes, beautiful. And we were allowed to take a little canoe into the Sungai Siliheva, 25.3 Celsius, 200 microsiemens or TDS. So for me, it's okay because this kind of water comes out of my tap. Clear water, and we got these snakehead gudgeons. We saw one yesterday, but this is a very beautiful variety, very intense colors. And we collected also a probably new Glossogobius there in the Lake Bira, or Danau Bira. And of course, we collected that beautiful fish named after a person we heard the name of before. Yeah, that was it. It was a fantastic time, 4 days in Casanovasia. I will never sweat again like this. And I saved my leg. And actually, they knew we were German, but I did not tell them to say goodbye like this. Okay, we are approaching the head of the beast. We are going to New Guinea's neck, the bird's neck. Beautiful area, Chendaravasi Bay, the bird of paradise bay, with all these nice species that are there. And we went once to Manokwari, rented a Jeep, a vehicle, a four-wheel drive for 1 day for $700 per day. So we started at 0:15, driving out to a spot, driving down to that place where the road ended. It's now finished. The road is finished now. You can go down to Bintuni. I think Johannes and Gary, you've been down to Bintuni on that road? No? Okay. So, but at that time it was not easy to get there. It was in 2013. And we collected that fish here we called Izim, species Izim. Izim Creek, close to Windassee Village, 7.0 pH, 144 microsiemens, and 27 Celsius. And we got that one. And it was like another fine moment when you have something like this, when you have the alpha male. You see it, you throw the cast net, you have it, yippee-yay, wonderful. And that was the alpha male in Jeffrey's tanks. And later on, they turned out to get a name, being named by Kader Rusman and others as Melanotaenia sequensis. Beautiful new species. It is in the hobby now for some years in Germany and in Europe, and many people still keep it because they are beautiful all day. Not only many bird's head species are beautiful in the morning, sometimes in the evening, but like pava, for instance. But then during the day, they look like a gray fish, and so they are not so famous in the hobby. But those are nice, and even Melanotaenia manibui, but of the manibuis, actually we only collected males because we just didn't recognize. We thought it was just another sequensis spot, but because they are so close to each other, the type localities, maybe only a few kilometers, so that we were not really aware of the fact that we were collecting in the moment when you have only this size fish, that you collected a different species. Anyway, one is in the hobby, one is not. So let's approach the bird's head, please, because I collected intensively in the bird's head over the past 10 years or so, and we collected many, many times at many, many places. And this Peter I took away. I think it was you and a gentleman called Greg Wallace. Is he here? Greg Wallace? No, he's not here. I would have to love to have to say thank you. There was a wonderful article I did for the Fishes of Sahul about these experiences, and I took this away just to give you an idea, the Tamrau Mountains, the Arfak Mountains, and the Ayamaru Plateau. We will concentrate on the Ayamaru Plateau because that is where my favorite fish come from. Maybe for one or the other here in the audience also. But I had the pleasure to get into contact with Jared Diamond, who is a best-selling author and world-renowned expert on New Guinea birds. And we were having time in the evenings in the camp, we were in the same camp, to discuss geography, biogeography, and the distribution patterns of some fish. And we compared birds of paradise distribution in the Raja Ampat area with those that are for the rainbowfish. And it turned out that exactly everywhere where rainbowfish are birds of paradise. In every Raja Ampat island. This is a simple reason. Birds of paradise, they stay in the rainforest. They are not leaving the rainforest. They are birds that could fly. Sometimes the distance between some islands is just a few kilometers. Any bird, even a sparrow, can do this easily, but they do not leave the rainforest, so they stay. So they have a kind of speciation similar to the isolated populations of rainbowfish. That was a nice talk and gave me some insight. So I just wanted to mention this as a side note. Anyway, this is more or less what we collected over the years around this area. I've been almost everywhere in the Bird's Head region. So we went to the Wapoga, and I think Johannes will bring you to the Wapoga later on today because it's worth going, let me say so. And this is the Sicoensis I already showed you. This is Arfakensis. This is a Frederiki type from Sorong area. Teminabuan with several species, high speciation grade, high diversity, for instance, with this species Bao and others like Multiradiata and so on. And also the Aguni Bay with a load of new species that came, like Amarai and others. So I'm concentrating on the center. And now the last we visit is the Buzamaniland. This is how I call it, because it is probably the most prominent aquarium species of rainbowfish. I think everybody will agree. But what we did not know until the last year's recent collecting was that actually they can be quite different. And this is the Ayamaru Lake. That plate was there in 2019. In 2020, it was already gone, so maybe an aquarist took a souvenir or whatever. And from above, this is from the top of the Ayamaru Hotel. You guys know that hotel? You can climb up to the roof and then you can do such a picture. And you can see there's not much water in that lakes. It's actually a row of lakes. It's not only one, it's several lakes in one row. But some of them are already dried out or inaccessible. And this is a satellite shot of this huge part of the Ayamaru Lake. This is the little village of Ayamaru. And you can actually go by road here, and we collected in a circle in every creek of that area, and we collected Buzimani in the affluents. In the lake itself, they're still there, but there's tilapia in it, and there's snakeheads, real snakeheads, not snakehead gudgeons in it. So they eat a lot, and they love rainbowfish because they are colorful and tasty, obviously. Yes, and 5 minutes? Oh, come on, give me 5 more. Okay. The Alves Creek is one of the affluents, and I wanted to show you the population. This here, the little blue thing, can you see that? Yeah. That is the Alves Creek in 2011. You can see there's a little village here around here, and this is Ayamaru village. And only 9 years later, the lake is vanishing. There's more and more people coming. There's another village setting up here, and also Ayamaru. So there's more and more people coming in. And the human impact on that population is clear. But Martin, you are here. You know exactly what is going on in Ayamaru. People, especially in the Abbas Creek, now are protecting the fish. And that is actually a very good news. And I like the idea. So no more car wash in the Abbas Creek, no more motorbike wash. They all stopped this. It's beautiful. And then you can see these are the creeks here. They are very, very colorful. pH between 7.5 to 8.2, 220 to 240 TDS, and temperatures between 24.5 and 26.3. That was in 26 spots taken over the past 6 years. So I was always, every time I went back, I took measurements. And this is a typical biotope here. And you can see this is a snakehead. They are almost everywhere. And this is the typical type that we used to call Ayamaru variety, right? Bigger, chunky fish, but it doesn't need to be a bigger, chunky fish. They are all a mix of several varieties because there's one person, I do not mention the name again, that was just saying he collected the only fish ever, and this is the basis for the whole species, whole Busemani in the aquarium hobby. This is simply a lie, because as soon as this species had been described, the people of that area started to collect and sell. And so they went by thousands and thousands of specimens as an export to Java and then have been exported into the world. And this is a smaller variety from Sungai Kromsa, which is an affluent to there. And we go to the trip to Lake Uta, which is an isolated population of that fish. This is a nice map you can find along the way. And here it is the Lake Uta down here. And this is the Ayamaru lakes, right? And so it is a little bit away off, but it is the same water system, as you can see. And this is the lake. It's beautiful. It's already, of course, a lot of human impact. There's a little village aside of it, but we had to ask for permission. The lady was given that permission after talking. So the boss is the lady. Mama was allowing me to jump in. She gave me 5 minutes to photograph, and then she said, no, you have to get out because you are doing magic to the fish. Get out. Okay, I had to get out, but so at least some pictures that you can see. There's a lot of Busemani still in that lake. And this is the boss here. And she was tough lady, really tough lady. And we were allowed to do one scoop with a net. And she said, let me do it. So I said, okay. And they took out, we got 50 species, 50 specimens, and we collected. And this is it. For me, one of the most beautiful Busemani varieties with this instant marine blue, bluish, almost blackish, dark face. And we were also chasing Ayamaruensis because that was a phantom. After the description, nobody got them again. And I knew this here is all Busemani land. And you can see the little river here at that side, that little slope here. That is the Kali Vensi. I saw this on the map. So we drove there. This is Kali Vensi. This is the type locality of Ayamaruensis. We went there. We saw exactly the same building, which was also pictured in the first description, in an old expedition paper by Busemann himself. He collected there in the 1950s. And that building was still there, but there was not missionaries living there anymore. There was other people living there. And this is the Kali Vensi, full of tilapia. Full. Tilapia cages, tilapia everywhere. So we had to go into the little affluents, into the creeks, feeding them. And hey, yeah, you could see already there are some rainbow fish babies swimming. Kali Vensi, 7.5, 206 microsiemens, 25.1 Celsius. And this is it. Clearly a different species. That is one of these moments when you are thinking about 20 years or longer, you're thinking about how is Ayamaruensis looking like? And then you finally have it, and it's a beautiful fish. And it is very variable also. These are all males of Ayamaruensis. They can look completely different from each other compared to a normal, usual pet shop Busemani. And finally, Kali Fitri. We went there 2019 collecting fish, and I said, oh, it's only Busemani, come on, let's go. And my friend Mike Drawdy, you remember the guy with the drone? He put a little camera in there, put it on and said, while you guys are packing up, I just do a little video. He did a little video, which he showed me finally later after the trip at the airport of Sorong, waiting for the airplane. I said, this is a little spot, it's just a hole. And he showed me this video. And you can see, there's Busamani swimming about. Sure, it is Busamani swimming, but what is this little yellowish fish there? And I said, my goodness, we got them. This is a little blue eye that was also a big, big miracle. Where are these little Pseudomugil reticulators living? And they are actually living there. So next year, coming back, getting them in. Now we have them again, the new variety, and Jeffrey is breeding them right away. This is the Califitri, a very small one, only maximum 8 centimeter size, but very colorful. And I call them the black chin Busamani, because when they are curting, they get a black chin. Very interesting variety. And this is the little blue eye that we finally now have in the hobby. Yeah, okay. So again, with people, talking to people, sometimes is a little bit stressful. This here are the people of a little village, and this village is close to a famous creek called Kali Fazin. And Fazin Creek is something, this is completing the bird's head 4, as I call them. Busamani, Ayamarensis, this is Fazinensis, and this is species from a close-by place, which I also think it is Fazinensis. And this is a new one we collected in the village Alice, just a few kilometers south of this spot. So here another stolen copy from my article in the Fishes of Sahul, where you can see the distribution pattern, and especially here there is a flock of species because it's a karst. It's limestone area, so you sometimes only have 2 kilometers stretch of over the surface, a little river, and sometimes it's only a few hundred yards long, and you have some fish there. Then it's going down again, and these fish are just isolated for many, many years now, and can develop into something that you might call a new species. We will see. Another one from the highlands is that here, species Mare. We collected together with Hubert a few years ago. That was also a little bit life-threatening. We asked if we are for permission to collect them. We started to collect them, but we obviously asked the wrong people. Up showed the boss, completely drunk, with his son, completely drunk, and long knives, and which were 2 good arguments to leave the spot and leave the fish. But finally, after half a year, we were able. Jeffrey sent out another guy, and he collected them. So another new fish for the hobby that we will hopefully be able to reproduce in bigger numbers, because it's just a beauty, in my opinion. And the same was with Melanotenia susi, which was just a surprise in the hobby. It is already established now in the hobby, at least in America and in Europe. And it's his little sister species, Clasiensis, which we brought also in 2021 for the first time. Beautiful fish. That was it. I hope it was not overdoing, and I hope you liked it. And don't forget, I need to get rid of my books. Thank you very much.
Somebody could just lean over and punch that light button when you turn the house lights up. It looks like everything is out now for morning tea. So those of you that want to grab morning tea can. Don't forget toilets are up behind reception if you need to use those.